We don't always find ourselves in the company of people like those here tonight who truly represent the diversity of perspectives in our community. What's remarkable about Henry is that his thoughtful and dispassionate approach to problem solving is universally respected. And we have all seen that Henry's involvement results in lasting results that best serve Shrewsbury. Henry has a proven track record, both in our town and throughout his business career, of working tirelessly and effectively to achieve the greatest benefit for all concerned. His collaborative style and pragmatic approach make him not only a strong leader, but an asset to any team. He's a good listener, he's very smart, and on top of it all, Henry is a pleasure to work with. Henry embodies the ethic of cooperative planning and the management of organizational and community resources that define stewardship. As a person of deep integrity and caring, I honestly can't think of a better steward for our community. As was written in the Metro West Chamber of Commerce newsletter, when it comes to building relationships, crafting workable solutions, and managing a variety of intricate details, there is no one better than Henry Fitzgerald.
When Henry first approached me that he was running for Selectman, I was very happy to hear that, because I've been fortunate enough, because as I look out to a couple of the guys here, I feel like I'm at a soccer reunion from Shrewsbury Youth Soccer, because Henry's son Tom and Tom Gorsuch and I were fortunate enough to have Henry as our soccer coach. And even saying Henry's still a little weird, because up until a couple of years ago he was Mr. Fitzgerald, so it's still a little, still getting used to that one. So when I remember sitting back on the sidelines eating the oranges, talking about my future political career when we were playing soccer. But it's you look back and you look back at those years, and just as a kid playing soccer in Shrewsbury, and as you get older, you sort of look back and you think of your coaches and you think of your mentors and you think of the people who helped you out throughout the years. And Henry was really one of those guys for myself, Tom, and I know that Tom back there. He's just a great guy, always there to encourage you. Ever since, and I'm not just saying this because I'm up here saying this, you really stuck in my head. I remember the day my wife got you to sign my papers at the post office. I was so excited to hear that you signed my papers, because you've always been one of those people who I always remembered in my mind, just because of what you did for us and how you pushed us as kids, and that stays with you through your whole life. And it was really, I really think it speaks to your dedication to the community, and to the kids, to your son's friends, and just the community at large. Henry was president of Shrewsbury Youth Soccer from '92 to '94, a town meeting representative from 1985 to present. That's most of our lives here. I don't even think we were playing soccer then. He was on the Floral Street Building Committee, chairman of the High School Building Committee, chairman of Oak Middle School Building Committee, chairman of the Sherwood Building Committee, here's one of my favorites, chairman of the Spring Street Greening Project, 2003 Friend of Education Award. He was a graduate of WPI, another thing we hold in common, and obviously everyone's aware of his experiences at Genzyme. One of the most impressive things that, aside from being director of the Metro West Chamber of Commerce, he was awarded the Metro West 2010 Business Leader of the Year. And that is a very, very impressive award to get, because there's a lot of fine candidates who could win that award. So my description of my influence, of Henry's influence on me as a kid, in his involvement in the community as a volunteer soccer coach, and in his business experience, in his volunteer experience throughout the years in this town, I really think it all just speaks for itself. Henry is the guy we need to really make sure that Shrewsbury continues on the great path that it has. So once again, I thank you all very much for allowing me to speak tonight, and thank you, Henry, for running.
We all feel lucky to live in this town. Shrewsbury is extremely well managed, has an outstanding school system, great town services, very reasonable property taxes, and a large number of talented and concerned citizens who volunteer their time and skills for the good of our town. One of those people is my good friend Henry Fitzgerald, whose candidacy for the Board of Selectmen has brought us together tonight. I first met Henry in 1985 when my wife and I were about to send our first child to kindergarten, and Henry and his wife Jean were involved in an effort to improve the Patton School playground. Jane and I made a donation to the playground fund, joined the group of Patton volunteers, and in Henry and Jean, we found two new friends who have become like family to us over the past 26 years. And by the way, our son Jeff, who entered kindergarten at Patton School that fall, is turning 31 years old today. Looking beyond Henry's resume, which is reason enough to support his campaign, I want to tell you a few things about Henry the person, which I know will make you feel even better about giving him your support and your vote. Henry is the kind of guy you want to have as a friend, a relative, a co-worker, or a fellow volunteer. He doesn't make a lot of noise, doesn't talk much about himself, or take a lot of credit for the work he does and the accomplishments that he's been a part of. He just digs in, gets the job done, usually on time and under budget, and moves on to the next task. He doesn't say no when he is asked to help a worthy cause. He has always been there to assist a friend or relative, coach a team, raise a few dollars, renovate a playground, clear a soccer field, build a new school, or a few new schools, join a group, and usually lead a group. Henry shows up, works hard, and makes a difference. I've seen Henry up close and personal in his many roles as a husband, father, brother, uncle, neighbor, friend, and community leader. People like Henry Fitzgerald make Shrewsbury the great town that it is. If you've heard him speak about any of the 4 school building projects that he has devoted countless hours to, you know what I'm talking about. He has a calm and rational way of speaking and explaining things with a natural command of facts and figures. He is a problem solver who works well with others, but doesn't need to take credit for his contributions. Henry, you might just be the most trusted man in Shrewsbury these days. Our own Walter Cronkite, you might say. Henry Fitzgerald has a great deal to offer Shrewsbury, an outstanding personal and professional background, a calm and thoughtful approach to problem solving, a record of commitment and service to our town. Henry's candidacy for the Board of Selectmen is really a no-brainer.
I was born in New York, and I know as campaigns go, we all have deep, dark secrets. So I might as well let you know right now, I grew up a Yankee fan.
But you're not anymore.
But times have changed, and I'm not anymore. I attended WPI, and after graduation, married my wife, Jean, who's here tonight. Jean?
Here.
And moved to Shrewsbury in 1977. And it was kind of interesting, because back then, I think in our minds, we weren't going to stay long in Shrewsbury. We thought that this would be an opportunity to pass through until we could maybe move on to a community that maybe more suited the kind of things that were important to us. I'm so glad we didn't do that and stayed here for all those years and that have come about since. I want you to know that I think this is a well-run town, and I think I can add to that. I think it brings great value. The reason I bought a house in Shrewsbury, because we could afford to live here. I have never forgotten that. And as things go, and in terms of value, I respect that, and I want us to all remember that. I also know that we have problems. I know that with regard to budgets and issues, we think we have almost insurmountable problems. But last week I had the privilege of going to a meeting at WPI, and it was called Engineers Without Borders. And this was not sponsored by the school, these were students. And these were students who volunteered their time, bought their own tickets, went down to Guatemala, and were helping people who had real significant issues, like no running water, issues of sanitation and health. And they really had severe problems. And what I remember them saying, I thought that was most key, is, one, how well these people accepted them for the work that they had done, and the comments that came back from the people to the students. Whatever you're going to do, make a decision and do it now, because we're not sure about our future. We're not sure where we're going. I can tell you that because they didn't have a future, things were incredibly difficult to know what they're going to be, life is going to be like for them tomorrow. That's not the issues we have here in Shrewsbury. We have a great community. You come to appreciate what you have here, and you invest in it. And I feel I have invested in this community over a long period of time. As others have already said, and I will not list my whole group of things, but I am certainly most proud of the 4 schools I've been associated with. Some of them were easy, and some of them were downright difficult. But one way or another, we have made them work, and we brought them together. And I look at that in terms of the long-term benefit that this has brought this community. I also want you to know that on the business side, I've been equally involved in a number of different things. My responsibilities at Genzyme Corporation, which just ended in October of last year after 27 years, partly retired but not, and I'll get into that a bit more, was very interesting. I was responsible for worldwide engineering, worldwide capital project management, corporate health, safety, and environmental services, real estate and planning, and Massachusetts-based maintenance operations. I had a staff of 250 people. I had a budget of $120 million annually, and on the expense side, the capital budget of $700 million. I'm familiar with the issues of running a business and making sure it's successful. And just because those numbers are high, don't think that we didn't have the exact same issues of trying to manage what we had. Especially when things start to turn and change, you have to do your best to try and keep what's most important to you on the table, just as the current Board of Selectmen is doing now. I'm also very proud of my involvement in the Chamber of Commerce, although it was mentioned by Matt, and he talked about the award I received. My real benefit was working between the Chamber of Commerce, the community of Framingham, and the needs of the citizens in the area. I was particularly helpful in working with the issues in the technology park and to change the zoning so it would be more applicable to the kinds of businesses that they'd want to attract, and to make sure that we could get more of those businesses to come to the area. I was also incredibly proud that I was able to bring to the community a $13 million state fund to improve infrastructure, water and sewer type stuff, the things that people don't want to think about. But I see Maura nodding her head as she's become an expert in that area over the last few years.
I know more about sewer than I ever thought.
And those are incredibly important but almost invisible things that we have to make sure happen all the time. And also for my time I spent in front of various planning boards and making sure that everybody understood just what we were doing. All of this is a long way of saying I believe I bring to this table the right background, experience, and commitment to be your next selectman. I truly love this town. I would like to continue to serve it more, and I hope that you'll continue to support me as we go through the remainder of this campaign and the vote that's going to occur on May 3rd. Thank you very much.